Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Oklahoma City. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Loonen.
How you doing, guys?
And we're ready for round number 7, where we've got a spicy one here. Patrick Chapin. Take a look at the deck name, Temur Prowess. He brought a real new build here that he's been working on. I think he was working with Jerry T on it a little bit, but it's going to face a real challenge this round. Sam Pardee is fantastic at Modern. He knows this format inside and out. He used to be a birthing pod player.
The birthing pod player.
He kind of was. He was one of the top birthing pod guys.
He win multiple GPs playing birthing pod?
And now
that's insane.
He doesn't get to play that anymore, so he's on Twin. But this is going to be a real test here for Chapin because, you know, he's brought a brew. This deck is crazy. Walk us through what this deck does.
So, I mean, he hasn't even played a card, or haven't played a land yet, but he's already cast 2 spells, which Taxian Probe and a Mishra's Bauble. Now, that's very Chapin to have both those cards in the deck. That means he's basically playing like a 52-card deck here. He has 4 copies of Abbot of Carolkeep, and like some Monastery Swift Spear, Snapcaster Mages, Tarmogoyfs. He's just getting super aggro. This deck needs to mulligan aggressively to find, you know, something that has prowess that's going to come out early and go nuts. But it can be very aggressive. It looks like it's capable of like turn 3 kills just by attacking. Wow. And, you know, Chapin, a big proponent of Abbot of Carolkeep. I've been playing a couple copies of that card actually in Modern Jund and been super impressed with it.
You've been impressed with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's so good in Modern where all the best cards cost 1 or 2. You know,
or free.
Or free. In this deck, it's better than any other deck I've seen it in. I mean, the fact that he gets to, you know, just a prowess creature in general is so good in his deck, it's going to be regularly attacking for like 5 as a 2-drop. And then he has a trillion cards he can flip up and cast for 0 or 1.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because in the deck tech that we aired earlier with Chapin, you know, he was very excited about that card, about Abbot of Carolkeep in Modern. And, you know, it's tough because, like, Chapin's such an enthusiastic guy. He will go off about, oh, this card. But, you know, when he takes a stand on a card, he's usually right. And it sounds like he's taking a stand on this one to me.
Yeah, and no surprise to me, I feel like Abbot of Carolkeep may complete the cycle of broken 2-drops for each color.
Oh,
Black
yeah.
has Dark Confidant, red is Abbot, green is Goyf, white is Stoneforge, and blue is Snapcaster.
So you weren't ready to put Young Pyromancer in that slot?
No, I was definitely not ready to put Young Pyromancer. Young Pyromancer, you have to build your deck around Young Pyromancer.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a very powerful card, but you have to build your deck around the card.
How dare you? You know you have to build your deck around Snapcaster too, right?
No, you
You
don't.
have to play spells. Gotcha.
I guess Stoneforge you have to build around. But, I mean, that's kind of...
Yeah. Rashad reminds us that Tarmogoyf is not, in fact, green.
There's an argument to be made for that.
Completely untrue, but also very true. So not a lot of action here in the early stages. We see Chapin kind of going through his library. The interesting part is the sum total of 1 mana spent. He's got 5 cards in his graveyard. So he is churning
Where's
right
Gurmag
through.
Angler?
Yeah. You know, we talked about that earlier, Jake. That was actually one of the cards that Chapin was saying, no, this card's the real deal. Gurmag Angler's the real deal. He played it at the Pro Tour, the Modern Pro Tour. He didn't do well. He ended up going 0-5 with that build that he took, but he was right. That card is a real deal.
Yeah, he was right. There were a lot of lessons to be learned from the deck he played at the Pro Tour there.
And he maybe took one for the team by being the first person to charge head-on into that new world.
Yeah.
But he was right. That card's legit.
He was absolutely right.
This is his first stab at an Abbot of Carolkeep deck, basically.
Had he been a little less all in on that strategy and just like had a little more time to test, found Grixis mid-range deck, he could have won that Pro Tour.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And nobody else even found that deck for that Pro Tour. And now it's like the deck to be in Modern. So finally found a threat. This is one of the problems with Chapin's deck is that if he doesn't draw, let's say, a Swift Spear or a Tarmogoyf, then he gets off these really slow, oftentimes awkward starts, and he can't really force things through very well. So, like, the remands in his deck are basically to get that one last turn to kill the opponent.
God, it's a time walk.
Yeah.
It's just stop you from doing one thing for one turn and then kill you. Well, it's business time here as Sam Pardee is playing a Deceiver Exarch, and he's going for it here. And, you know, that Steam Vents is going to get tapped down for Chapin, and he does not have a lot of ways to interact here.
He actually has 4 copies of Vapor Snag.
He's got Vapor Snag, but he's going to have to lean on that pretty hard here.
Yeah, I mean, now he's gonna tap this, but if Sam goes for it, that seems really good for Patrick.
If he has it. Well, this is his upkeep. This is Patrick's upkeep there. Sam Pardee, the aggressive, being aggressive with his tap creatures here. Something you'll see not as often in Modern, but it does happen. You get a Pestermite in like a Modern Masters type set. People run those out on your upkeep all day.
Oh, it's just great,
Yeah.
especially when your opponent plays a land and then passes.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, well, you're not going to have anything to do next turn either, are you?
Oh, that's not good. All right, now there's the Monastery Swift Spear. Unfortunately, the 1/4 is going to do a good job of holding it back. It doesn't even attack here. Just that one blue mana sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Do you just go for it?
Not knowing Chapin's list at all, I mean, we have the luxury of seeing it here. If I have it, I think I just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Pat's a sneaky snake, but...
I really like this from Sam Pardee. I don't think it's correct to go for it, because why would Chapin, knowing that you have that sitting there and that you're going to hit your 4th mana, it can easily have Splinter Tint, why would he tap a blue or tap one of his lands, to play a 1/2 creature? Like, he wouldn't, right? Like, he would just leave up both to like represent something, a counter spell, a mana leak, a remand, anything, right? He's got to have something that would be the thought. The thing is that Chapin's so crafty, man.
Yeah, he could have
He
like
would totally try to
spell
get
pierce.
you.
He might have like a bluff,
Yes, yeah. The thing is, the reason why I would ultimately go for it, I suppose, is just that I don't think my worst case scenario is that bad. All right, this would also influence my decision if I had a spell snare, by the way, but Tarmogoyf's going to get snared here, it looks like. Right, so if he goes for it, it gets bounced. He says go. He takes some damage, but he's at 19. Like, it's not like Patrick's going to kill him. And he still has his Exarch ready to go as well. Is that a
Seal of Fire.
Seal of Fire there?
Yeah, now,
Old
the thing
school.
about... Yeah, Patrick, his deck, like, his Tarmogoyfs work really hard. He has Seal of Fires and Mishra's Baubles.
Oh, yeah.
Those things are like 6/7s on the reg.
he needs a planeswalker that you can just sacrifice to itself. A tribal planeswalker. Yeah, no, that's
the new
insane.
Gideon. You can just...
You can?
Yeah. It's a lot of colors.
Yeah. the double white 4-drop probably not in the cards.
Probably,
here.
yeah. Not what he's going for here.
Interesting about the Seal of Pain or Seal of Fire as well is that it just sits there, and he can now combine it with a lightning bolt from his hand to actually be able to kill an Exarch here as well.
Yeah, I like that. I've played Seal of Fire in Modern before.
You have?
Yeah. Gabe Carlton Barnes actually won a
GCB.
PTQ with Seal of Fires in his deck.
Oh, he's just got the double lightning bolt plus the Seal of Fire backup plan, so didn't need it. Both bolts are going to take down the Exarch. Now, this is interesting to me, though, because Chapin's deck is not really about card advantage at all, right?
No,
like
not at all.
Abbot's his main avenue for getting ahead on cards, right? Is that
Yeah,
Abbot?
I mean, Abbott and Snapcaster Mage are really the only forms of card advantage here in Chapin's deck at all. And I mean, that's a lot for a deck where those are also your only two cards, or they're 2 of your 3 cards that cost 2 mana.
Right.
Everything else costs 1 or 0. So he's very close to the ground. Let's see how many lands he has here.
He's got 17. That's what he told me, at least. He said that Jerry Thompson talked him up from 14. Chapin said, my opening offer was 14.
14 might be right with this deck. I'm looking at it and like 17 seems like a lot. Like that's why I counted. I was thinking 16.
It is
15.
funny because if you take out the Gitaxian probes, the Serum Visions, and the baubles, that's 8 free. Basically shrinking your deck from 60 to 52, and then the next 4 only cost 1 mana as well, and they let you see a lot of cards. I mean, your deck's pretty small. Like, you're approaching limited-sized deck there.
Yeah, and
where we
17
do
is
run
a decent
17.
amount of lands,
Yeah.
but in limited, you're playing cards that cost way more than 1 and 2.
So I guess the story of this game is that Chapin's flooding? I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the major story is just that he didn't have a turn 1 Swift
Yeah.
Spear. He didn't have a turn 2 Goyf.
Right.
He really had to, even though he had all those cantrips in his opening hand, none of them were able to find one of those early threats, and he really kind of got punished for it.
Yeah, I mean,
so
and Sam Pardee is pretty content to just sit back here, right? He doesn't have to do anything.
yeah, he can just hang out.
There's that Vapor Snag in hand. There's also Snapcaster Mage. Sam going after the Scalding Tarn here. And that's going to prompt Chapin to crack it in response. Interesting little play here.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things I like about that is that, maybe we don't know what's in Sam's hand. Maybe cracking that fetch land actually increases his clock by a turn.
Totally.
Maybe targeting that fetch land with a Deceiver, Arcsark. Maybe he's not sure what it's in Pat's deck, so he wants to get that off the table. He knows that Pat has Mishra's Bauble, so Pat can take a look at the top and be like, oh, well, I don't like this card. And shuffle it away. Lots of very small advantages to pick up when you're playing Pat's deck here.
I like that. I mean, Chapin has no forward momentum here, but his hand's pretty good.
Yeah, his hand is starting to get a little stuck. The thing about it is, though, is that, I mean, if Sam has another Spell Snare, Snapcaster to hit that Spell Snare, then suddenly Patrick's hand just does nothing.
Oh, no.
You know?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
He is casting his cards defensively right now, and that is not what his deck wants to be doing. When you're spending cards like Lightning Bolt to kill 1/4s,
Yeah,
it's a bad spot to be in.
double bolted that last Deceiver Exor. Well, there's that Snapcaster. Let's see what Sam Pardee has to say about this. Again, Sam Pardee.
When is this happening?
One of the
Sam's end step?
one of the best modern players around. We'll find out.
Snapcaster Mage, just such an incredible card. If I had to take a guess, I would say that is in your top 3 favorite creatures of all time.
No,
No, really?
didn't make the top 3. It's
Jeez.
on my short list. You're not off.
Yeah, it's definitely in my top 3.
Creature's unbelievable. All right, he's going to Lightning Bolt, and that's going to get remanded. And as we know, there's a pretty cool interaction here, Jake.
Yeah, now when you Snapcaster Mage and then target the spell in your graveyard, it gains Flashback, and you cast it with Flashback. Then when you remand a card with Flashback, it doesn't go back to your opponent's hand. It just gets exiled. And you're basically countering a spell and drawing a card, which is like a cryptic command-like effect for just 2 mana.
For just 2.
Yeah. And of course, your opponent gets that 2/1 body, so you're kind of just breaking even on card advantage. But when you're fighting against a Snapcaster Mage, breaking even on card advantage is kind of sweet.
Yeah, it's funny just that, like, we're happy about that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I broke even
It's
with
just
the
a delight.
Snapcaster Mage. 5. All right, and here's Pestermite as well, though, for Sam Pardee. Chipping away. All right, so the Sealfire is going to take down the Pestermite. I'm assuming that Pardee was happy with that, or content with that at least, as he knew it was going to happen. Lightning Bolt off the top. You can see where this is going. I mean, Pardee's just been chipping away.
Love the patience here from Sam, by the way.
Absolutely. He's got a full grip of cards here. He's got 5 cards in his hand.
I think against a lesser opponent, Pat probably would have been able to get somebody who tried to resolve it to win on the Deceiver Exarch with the Vapor Snag, and that would have given him an opening to play that Abbot, and then who knows what kind of shenanigans could have ensued.
Snappy. There's a bolt hiding down in the graveyard there. Hit you with it. You're down to 6. He's got another Lightning Bolt in his hand. Guess what? He's got another Lightning Bolt in his hand. You're dead.
So many Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, and we've seen this happen pretty often. You know, the fact that Chapin just never wanted to tap his mana there, you know, to protect against getting comboed out by Twin, that the Deceiver Exarch just sat there and was like, don't cast any spells, Patrick. And he was like, okay, I guess I can't. And then in the meantime, he just got chipped away, 1 damage here, 2 damage there, and then it was bolt, 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 you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you see from the Splinter decks very often. Sometimes they even sideboard out their combo.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, well, I'll just get you with 1/4s and Vendilion clicks.
Yeah, you know, it turns out that blue-red tempo control isn't that far off from being an actual deck. Like, you could play pretty close to that, and there's not really a big incentive to just play that. Like, you might as well have the Oops, I Win combo for decks that are ignoring you, you know, where you can't really clock them, but it's actually legit. Like, blue-red has some really nice tools.
Yeah, I mean, that blue-red deck has been a deck periodically, and sometimes they'll sideboard in a Splinter Twin combo. When do you see those blue-red decks?
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah.
That's just all right, let's take a look, a check-in here on Paul Rietzel playing Merfolk, and he's up against Sam Black, who, borrowing a page from his roommate Justin Cohen, just like he did at the Pro Tour, playing Amulet Blue.
Yeah, Sam is so good at playing Amulet Blue. It's really we see a Temple of Mystery. That's not a card you see very often in Modern.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it comes into play tapped, so it kind of works pretty well with Amulet in that regard. Then also, you know, you're looking for very specific cards, and you're trying to sculpt certain combinations when you're playing this Amulet Bloom deck. So having a card like Temple of Mystery, it really lets you kind of like sculpt, get to a certain place, plan on a turn 3 win, a turn 4 win. Sure, it's going to make you win less games on like turn 2, like the deck is capable of. But when you're a good player, you're not trying to win on turn 2 all the time with this deck. You're trying to pick your spots, because how often are you going to have the turn 2 hand?
Right.
You know, 5% of the time.
Right.
It's just not realistic.
That's just not what you're going for. Here's Curse Catcher. It's going to get vialed in, as we say. Paul's also going to tick up that vial in his upkeep. Nope, he's going for something right now. Looks like Lord of Atlantis. But wait, there's more.
Is this another? Oh, no. Okay.
Crunch.
And that's 5 damage
5
already.
damage right now. Take it, Sam. So that's 13 you're down to. Now this does leave him somewhat tapped out, though. That Curse Catcher there can take care of Ancient Stirrings. And, wow, no land drop for Sam Black. So that is
brutal.
Huge for Paul Rietzel.
Yeah, and good call by Paul there. A lot of players might say, okay, well, I have all this pressure going on the aggro. My opponent's just casting the spell that doesn't affect the board. That one I'm going to let resolve. And Paul says, no. Like, I know what's important to your game plan, and you need to put specific combinations together, and that is one of the best cards at doing that. I am just going to counter that. And then
it also just finds lands.
Exactly. And the thing is, he doesn't know that Sam doesn't have a second land.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? Because he doesn't know he doesn't have a second land, and the whole enters the battlefield tap dynamic's very strange here.
Yeah.
Because Sam could have just gone land play this and just said, like, I don't care about your Curse Catcher. It almost looked like bait, I think, from Rietzel's side, but he correctly sniffed out that no. I'm going to counter that. Meanwhile, Phantasmal Image is going to create another copy here of the Lord of Atlantis, and this clock has gotten brutally fast. This one could just be done. That's going to do it. Paul Rietzel 2-0 over Sam Black. Mana troubles for the Amulet deck, and that was all she wrote. So Paul Rietzel just tearing through the competition with the Fish deck here.
Yeah, 7-0 now. Very worthy Hall of Fame player. And we just keep watching. He's winning his matches so fast. And we watch one game.
Yeah, give us a chance, Rietzel. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, we want to watch you play a little bit. We got to see a whole game there.
What do you think of this Merfolk deck? Andre Strosky played it at World Championships.
World Championships, it was not a very good choice.
Okay. What about here?
Here, I mean, it's looked real good when Paul's been playing it.
Yeah, but that's Paul.
That is Paul.
Let's take the Paul factor off of it.
Okay.
Give it to me straight. Don't come on.
Okay.
Does it suck? Just tell me
I'm not a
it's
huge
bad.
fan of it.
Okay.
I feel like when you play against like the Jund and Junk type decks, like if your opponent knows what they're doing, like you really just need to hit a critical mass of guys in play. I have a really hard time losing to Merfolk when I have a Lightning Bolt in my opening hand. You know, like Lightning Bolt's a card that a lot of people play.
Totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
And especially with the way the Jund decks look these days, you and I talked about Terminate earlier. People are playing 3-4 of them in the main. Like,
yeah, they're just stocking up on all this
just
spot removal.
down.
Then when they Maelstrom Pulse you, they often 2-for-1 you and stuff. And you also get these draws where you draw multiple vials, and then your hand does nothing.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
All right.
But
no, fair. That's why I asked you. You play a lot of Modern. I needed to know your opinion. All right, so Chapin's gonna. It looks like a Taxium probe here. I couldn't quite see all the cards in Sam's hand. Oh, now I got a better look at them.
there's a twisted image in there.
There's a Twisted Image. There's an Electrolyze. It's got a Deceiver. Got a Land. It's got a Serum Visions in there too. So Chapin. Yeah, I mean, we know that he would have, if he had the Swift Spree, he would have already played it.
Yeah.
Try to get, to get that extra trigger from the Pro, but he just hasn't had a hand that's had that really fast start yet. And I mean, this is very much a get ahead, stay ahead type deck, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is that one of the things I was talking about earlier, we were talking about, how a long time ago there used to be some deck builders who would play like Street Wraiths and Baubles in their deck so that they would have just an unreal amount of, just sifting. So they're playing like a 52 card deck. That's a lot of what Chapin's doing here is, he's trying to play a deck that's as few cards as possible.
Yeah.
It's very focused. And as a result, he's forced to keep a lot of hands with unknown information. And his deck does not mulligan well because all the Prowess triggers really rely on having a ton of cards in your hand. And you're not mulliganing well, and you have to keep these hands where there are all these cards in your hand that are just unknowns.
Just leap of faith.
Yeah, I hope it gets there. And the thing is, the math is there. You're probably getting there most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just, that's scary, man.
Yeah, for sure. It really is. This is interesting. Here's a Grim Lavamancer for Sam Pardee, which is definitely going to give Chapin some troubles as it can kill a lot of his threats. It can also help keep Tarmogoyf smaller. It's going to have to eat a Lightning Bolt at some point, you'd think.
Absolutely.
Chapin in the tank. He's got a Tarn and he just ships a turn back. Okay. Pardee rips his card for the turn. Looks like he's going to line up a Serum Visions here.
And again, we see, Chapin kind of playing the control role, which is not really where he wants to be. I think he gets to bring in some Dispels post-board. So I can allow him to, force through some of his twos.
Which spell?
And get some card advantage. Dispel?
Which spell?
This one.
So it looks like Grim Lavamancer's going to hit the red zone here.
Yeah, and Pat might be thinking here, do I just flash in a Snapcaster Mage?
Is Sam missing his land drop here?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's aggressive. Vapor Snag? Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like Sam Pardee is missing a land drop. He did Serum Visions. He topped and bottomed.
So he has a land on top.
He's got a land on top, but he didn't find one cold off of the Serum Visions or his draw step.
Yeah, so one thing that's
And
interesting is after the top bottom from the Serum Visions, Chapin basically says to himself, okay, well, next turn he's going to have 2 mana, so there's no way he's going to want to recast that Grim Lavamancer because he finally has access to 2.
Right.
Also, he's going up to 8 cards, so
Yes.
I'm actually going to get a card for this Vapor Snag. That's a great Vapor Snag from Chapin there. You don't see Vapor Snags like that very often, like, oh, I'm just going to hit your 1-drop when it's not even attacking me or doing something cool. But in that situation, he's actually getting a card out of his Vapor Snag, and he's getting a card that's very relevant to his game plan off the table.
I like that.
I like it a lot.
That's sweet.
It's pretty impressive. But it looks like he's going to get to follow it up with an actual threat. So here I imagine we're going to see an Abbot resolve. I'd be surprised if we played the land before the Abbot. Oh, he's not even playing the Abbot.
Oh.
Ooh. I'm confused.
Look at this. Sam Pardee says, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was the land I put back on top, but I'm still just going to replay this guy. Deprive in hand for Chapin. Man, I used to play that when I played, we called it Rug Delver, now we'd call it Temur Delver, back when Modern was pretty new. But I haven't seen a Deprive in a while. There it is, though. And there, of course, is the Scalding Tarn. That's the one that Sam Pardee had left on top of his library with the Serum Visions.
Sam's just going to get basic island here. He doesn't know what Pat's up to. Doesn't want to lose to a Blood Moon or something.
Totally. Though, honestly, the Twin deck is the one that brings in Blood Moon sometimes.
Usually, yeah.
We did get a chance to see that on camera.
He must have just want to take less damage.
Brought in a Blood Moon and then lost to it because they couldn't cast any of their spells on their opponent. Good. That's a little awkward. All right, so Serum Visions again, bottom, though, this time. I think he's just looking for land still. Was that a Roast in hand for Sam Pardee?
I like it. It's pretty good killing Tarmogoyfs.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I always loved when my affinity opponents, when I was playing like Blue Tron, they would bring in Blood Moon against me because they're like, oh, he's a Tron deck. It's like the only way they could ever beat me was with their man lands. I was like, oh, sweet. I just like sit here and play cards.
And then you just like play it natural style.
Yeah, just natural
well,
worm.
we got up to
coil.
7
I
mana.
win.
Yeah. All right, now we get a chance to look. So there's an Electrolyze. There's another Deceiver. We saw one hit the bin, but it's because he had a redundant copy. There's a Remand. Let's see. All of them.
Patrick playing this in a very controlling type of way. Got his opponent to tap out again here, so Sam.
This did not work for him.
Yeah, Sam grinding that card advantage back up there. Gets it, yeah, Pat got a 2-for-1 off his Snapcaster by using the Chapin probe, but Sam just goes, all right, I'll just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Electrolyze.
Yeah, you for 1, it for 1, draw me a card. Oh, it's a Teferi that Sam has in his hand. Ooh. Yeah.
I love me some Teferi.
That's pretty sweet, yeah.
That's a card that doesn't see that much play in Modern, so for those of you that don't know about it, it costs 2 colorless and blue, so it's a 5-mana creature. It has Flash. It's a 3/4, and while it's in play, you can play creatures as though they had Flash, and your opponents cannot cast spells except when they could be casting a sorcery. So they're like restricted to their main phase. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, one of the big things you'll see that is in a control-ish type mirror. It basically means your opponent can't counter your spells, right? They just can't play counter spells.
And it's really exciting when you end step it too, because it comes into play and your opponent can't use a removal spell because it's the end step, so that you get to untap with it. So it just gets to like protect itself from the non-blue decks beautifully.
That card's amazing.
Yeah. We're watching Abbott in action right now. Flips up a Serum Visions.
It's about time we saw an Abbott of Carol Keep. He had one in his hand when he died in the first game, did Chapin, but I'm glad to see this card. This is kind of the namesake. This is why you play this deck.
This is why you play this deck.
Both of these players have picked up a loss today. They're both 5-1.
Now, not only is that Abbott a Silvergill Adept, but it's also going to start attacking for a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, Sam seems content to just keep digging for lands here. He's just like, come on. Give me a land. Didn't find one off the top there either. There is one in his scry pile here. There's also a lightning bolt. And he's decided to keep both. I think he's going to draw the bolt first. He knows he needs to kill this Abbott. Interesting decision here. Let's see what Patrick Chapin does. He's got 2 more Abbotts and a Tarmogoyf in his hand, and Sam's tapped out. Wow.
Yeah, he's got some options here.
He can play Abbott and Goyf this turn?
I mean, playing the we played the land first. It's interesting.
So this is bad news if he hits a land. So
yeah, I mean, he might just not play the Abbott then. If he plays the land, it tells me he's not going to play the Abbott because...
Right, of course.
Nope.
So there's that lightning bolt off the top for Pardee. His next card is the Scalding Tarn. So we get a chance to kind of get inside the head of a professional player here and say, okay, you know what your next draw step is. Now what? And this is kind of fun because, I mean, right now, Pardee, I think, is just thinking, if I can make this game go long, I'm good. He's got 8 cards in his hand. He's got a Twisted Image. He's got a Bolt. He's going to want to try to figure out a way to clean up this board. And then he's going to start hitting more land drops. Wow. Oh, I see. He's going to untap his own Steam Vents here. Oh, this is a huge remand for Patrick Chapin.
That is a huge remand. That is full-blown Time Walk.
Full-blown Time Walk, draw a card, and he's going to have to discard now.
Yeah.
Because he decided to leave that Lightning Bolt on top and not the Scalding Tarn.
Patrick, using cards like Vapor Snag, cards like Remand to put Sam in a position where he's discarding. Now in this next turn, he gets to just go crazy here, depending on what happens with the Abbott flips. But
wow, he is going to hit hard if he can find a couple of his.
Does he have a Bauble in his yard or a Seal?
Unclear.
Okay.
If only we had a Tarmographic to let us know what that thing's at.
Because that thing's at least creature, sorcery, instant, land.
Yeah, the standard 4/5 I think is a given at this point. Was that a roast for Chapin off the top?
That was a roast.
He's
for
running
him
those
off the top.
too. Now that'll clear away whatever comes next. Maybe Teferi at some point, but it might not last that long as Pardee, due to missing multiple land drops multiple times, is really falling behind here. I mean, how much damage is he going to take this turn? 7, 8, something like that?
Yeah, so
Tarmographic
another
says
Abbott coming down,
4/5.
and he put a bauble on top, so now he gets to play the bauble and sacrifice it.
Oh,
Tarmograph is now 5/6.
Woo. Not getting any smaller. And this is going to also trigger the Abbot of Carol Keith, the one that doesn't have summoning sickness. We know what that was. He showed it to Chapin. It's a land.
Yeah. Land number 4 there for Sam.
You notice that Sam didn't look at it either because he knows what it is.
Is this an attack for 9?
This is 5, 6, 7, 8. And what was the other spell? Just
Seer
the
Visions?
bauble, right? Did he visions this turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Ow. That's a big hit.
That's a chunk.
Yeah, all right. There's that land off the top for Pardee. Now, the question is, what can he do to clean this up? Chapin only has access to 1 mana, but man, Pardee needs to do work. Does he have a sweeper? Does he have a
He has
Pyroclasm?
Pyroclasm. He has 2 of it in his board.
What?
Yeah.
Does he have one in his hand?
I don't know.
I have a feeling we're going to find out shortly.
I have a feeling that I'm going to agree with you.
Wow. Man, if he Pyroclasms, then he actually still needs something, though, right? Pyroclasm
Well, doesn't he
leaves
have a
lethal
roast
Tarmogoyf.
to fight the
But-
Tarmogoyf
but-
afterward?
But it's 5/6, right?
But the Pyroclasm will deal it too.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
So he'll get 7 on it.
Oh, no, he doesn't
He
have
doesn't
it.
have it.
Bolt. What is this going to get dispelled or something?
Seems like that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, it is. Go to 10. Dispel that.
Just passing the turn now. I mean, he has an Exarch in hand, but that's not going to be good enough to save him.
I mean, technically it is.
No, I mean, all Patrick needs is 1 Prowess
I
trigger.
said technically. And there's the roast, which is certainly not going to make that card not good enough. So game 3 it is. Hey, you got to feel like Sam Pardee would be in a fine position, but missing all those land drops really killed him.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just the 1 land drop that he missed was turn 2.
That was a
Right?
huge one,
And then
but he missed one on the
He missed
bolt,
one
too.
later on, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then he was constantly just needing to top deck them, and he needed to go double on them the turn he electrolyzed. That would have got him out of the woods, but
No, Chapin gets the job done in game 2, forcing what's hopefully a sweet game 3.
I
I
think
just wanna
Chapin
see-
played that really well.
I want to see Chapin's good draw. We haven't seen his good draw yet. Like he
Yeah.
he
Well, the
leveraged
thing
his
is-
resources well there, but I want to see Monastery Swift Spear attack you and then like, you know,
Yeah, I want to see like Monastery Swift Spear,
Bobble,
Gitaxian
probe,
Probe, you know, and then like the next turn they're like, all right, well here's my big blocker, and he's like Rancor, you know. Like,
wait, he's not playing Rancor.
yeah, he is.
What?
He's playing 2 Rancor in the main deck.
Oh my God.
That card is not in his deck post board against Sam Pardee, but
Okay.
I mean, I can't imagine you'd
What
keep
is
it
it?
against.
It just gets over
deck.
like chump blockers.
Yeah,
It
I mean, your
triggers
opponent-
prowess.
Your opponent has like tokens and stuff in play.
Yeah.
They have like a lot of stuff to block with. I mean, you're prowessing up some big dudes with this deck. Like oftentimes you're getting like, 6 prowess triggers on 1 turn when you have like 3 lands in play.
And Rancor
So-
just gives you a much better chance of actually getting that damage through to the player.
Yeah, it's
Wow. Rancor. That's sick.
the push through. Against Faradex, it seems very good.
So it makes the Abbot a 5/2 that turn with trample.
Yeah,
And then just crunch. Then that's just playing the Rancor on an Abbot.
yeah. It's pretty good on a Swift Spear even. You're attacking for 4.
With trample.
Yeah. 4 power trample creature for 2 mana.
It's impressive.
It's 2 cards, but it's a lot of damage. It's often much more than 4 damage, too. The trample, I think, is the biggest thing for it. The other thing is that when your opponent, when your opponent's tapped out and you get to play Rancor on your guy, the Rancor is going to come back to your hand anyway. So even though you're spending this card, you're not really spending it.
Yeah.
So later on, you're going to get to reuse it, and it's a really nice thing to hit off Abbott for just that reason.
Oh,
because you get this like recurable source of prowess and damage off of your Abbott.
Take that, plant tokens. All right, so now this time Sam Pardee, though, is going to be on the play. And let's assume that he doesn't have the mana issues he did. But let's also assume that Chapin's going to have a sweet start here. And let's get a great game 3 out of these two gentlemen. Come on, Chapin, don't do it to me again.
Played the land before he did anything else.
Land first,
so.
and he's cracking it. Swift Spear.
It's going to be so disappointing if he just plays Serum Visions. Oh. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
What if he pays for Gataxian Probe? Would that be more or less disappointing?
I mean, it'd just be... He would be choosing to do that.
I want a very simple answer.
That's the exact same thing.
More disappointing. All right, there it is. Serum Visions. All right, well, we never got our 1-drop draw out of Chapin, but we get to see some action here either way. Looks like his scry decision is Dispel Land. Lining it up with his hand. Oh, kept both.
Interesting.
Tough guy, huh? All right.
That's always just the worst when your opponent turn 1 Serum Visions. They're like, top, both. Wonderful.
Great. It's all good news for everybody. All right. Chapin draws that land for the turn. He's left it Dispel as his next draw step. Pardee's hand is...
You think he just goes for Tarmogoyf here?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I'm curious to see. Yeah, he's just going to jam it.
I like it because, I mean, it doesn't die to Bolt here. You know, he has a land and a sorcery in his graveyard, so it's a 2/3. So if your opponent casts Lightning Bolt, the Lightning Bolt, when it resolves, is in the graveyard. So the Tarmogoyf would actually be a 3/4 and would live through the Lightning Bolt, even though it's a 2/3 right now.
It looks like it's going to get remanded here. Get out of here, Tomographic. We're not ready for you yet.
Yeah, and...
Thank you, Tomographic, for...
Tomographic is very obedient.
Yeah, it was. All right, pass a turn back. I wonder if anything changes here for Chapin. You know, remember now he's going to have the Dispel.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? Because if he goes land, untapped land here, then he can actually protect his Tarmogoyf from
Absolutely.
counter magic. And like you said, it would be out of range of a Lightning Bolt, which means Sam's going to need something
He might play
better.
Spellskite instead, though.
Oh, he's got a Spellskite going
Yeah,
too?
because he does have to be afraid of getting just twin comboed, right?
Sure. I mean, end step, make a twin piece, and then just untap and destroy you. Now, the Spellskite gives him protection from that, so very nice.
It makes cards like Lightning Bolt way worse, too, just against his Abbots, and just gives him a lot of ways to protect what he's doing.
Yeah, I like this a lot from Chapin. If I'm in Sam Pardee's seat, you know, he didn't untap and kill the Spellskite, so this is good news for Chapin fans because that Spellskite's very annoying.
Oh, absolutely.
On 2 different fronts from Pardee. Like you said, the removal front and also the I want a combo and can't front. So it's definitely annoying. Tarmogoyf. Are you going to resolve? Okay, well, what are you tapping down?
I believe Tarmogoyf is currently a 3/4. I didn't see the artifacts go in the yard yet.
Well, how would I know?
Oh, yeah, we need a Tarmographic
There's
again.
no Tarmographic, I can't tell, so completely reliant on it.
Just want to confirm the size of it before we put up a Tarmographic.
Give me that Tarmographic back again. All right, so the Steam Vents does get tapped, though. The Scalding Tarn's still available. There he is. Hello, friend. Now what? Whoa. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, so the Tarmographic doesn't actually show up for Sam Pardee. He's going to electrolyze the Goyf here.
They're probably looking to combine that with a lightning bolt.
That doesn't work,
But-
though,
Well,
right? With the spell sky?
he can target Electrolyze to Spellskite and Tarmogoyf.
Yes, but he didn't.
Oh, he just.
I think he just said both to Goyf. Yeah, so the deal with
Oh,
Spellskite
okay.
is that it has to have a single target. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, then he can't redirect. So he could do that. Maybe he verbalized it, but when he pointed it, he just pointed it at the Goyf. All right, and it's Pyroclasm for Pardee. And that is not targeted, so that gets rid of the Tarmogoyf.
I like it.
Wow, that is a nice way to get around Spellskite there, because Chapin had to make a decision there. Do I want to let the 2 damage hit the Goyf or not? And he said, sure, if your plan is to follow up Lightning Bolt it, I've got a Spellskite now.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick
wasn't
can't be
his plan.
upset about that trade. I mean, here he is. Sam just spent 5 mana on a card to deal with the Tarmogoyf.
Fair.
Seems good for Pat.
Yeah, now Patrick's deck is a little bit threat light, right? Like,
Yeah, I think that's one of
That's
the
kind of the
major issues with
downside.
it, but you can't really change that.
right. All right,
Yeah,
we get a
it's
chance
too
to look
important.
at Sam Pardee's hand here. And he does actually have the combo lined up, but again, that Spellskite kind of wreaking havoc with him.
Yeah, I mean, he could draw a card that kills the Spellskite and then cast Splinter Twin on the same turn, perhaps. But then, even then, you kind of want Pat to tap out before you do something like that.
Couple of Abbots of Carol Keep for Chapin.
I think we might see one of them get cast right now. Another basic island there.
All right, here we go. Abbot of Carol Keep. Whoop. Finds another one. Guess he's glad he has a bunch of 0 and or free cards, because you just want to cast it? Is it risky?
We knows what's in his opponent's hand, so
Yeah.
it's impossible for Sam to. Sam doesn't have a 6th land, I believe.
Okay.
So it's impossible for Sam to have Grudge and the 4th land for
Sometimes Serum
Splinter
Visions.
Twin, but
No. Now, interestingly, though, Chapin did not cast the second Abbot.
yeah, that's very reasonable. He wants to leave mana open. He knows his opponent has access to combo.
But you said he can't combo here.
Well, I didn't think he had a 6th land, but he must have.
Gotcha. There you go.
And I mean, Sam could also. Pat doesn't know the contents of Sam's deck. Maybe he just thought Sam had a way that could get the Spellskite off the table for 1 mana.
I mean, there's Twisted Image.
Absolutely, that's a big one. Oh, and he's seen that already. Okay.
Serum Visions was the play here for Pardee, though.
Twisted Image is a pretty strong card in these types of decks where Spellskite matters so much to you, because you can just use it as a cantrip when it's not good, and sometimes it's quite good, like, especially in the versions that play Tarmogoyf. And when you block their Tarmogoyf with your Tarmogoyf, you let damage resolve, and then later on you just switch it, and then for 1 mana you get to kill a Tarmogoyf and draw a card.
It's unreal.
Very unreal.
Yeah, and speaking of Tarmogoyf, that was Patrick's draw step for the show.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
I mean, for all the work that Chapin's done here, he's at 10 and Sam Pardee's still at 17. And it doesn't look like Chapin has a lot of forward momentum at the moment. But he's got a nice grip of cards here. He's got 6 cards in his hand and some really powerful stuff. Some of his best cards, in fact. Looks like he's got like a pair of Snapcasters, another Abbot, a Goyf. Like, he's got
Jeez.
business.
Plays for days.
But Pardee's also is threatening to combo off at a moment's notice. Here's a Tarmogoyf now for Chapin.
Tarmogoyf's a big boy.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
This is how I tell Rashad.
Yeah.
He just gives me a look every time. Let's also not forget about the Community Cup. And there's the Tarmographic at full flat. Tarmogoyf will be at the Community Cup next weekend. Special appearance.
He'll be making an appearance?
Yeah. We're not going to put him on camera. Doesn't really have a face for video work. So, yeah, great podcaster.
Good radio voice, though.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. It's like, nah. Yeah, that's a lot what he sounds like if you've ever met him in real life. All right, here's Dispel.
It's a good one.
Chapin confirming with Pardee. You still got that one land on tap, right? He's like, yep, one land.
It's kind of interesting.
This is another electrolyzer. Is he going to try to just kill the Abbot this time? Because he can split those, right?
I think it's fine. I was gonna like one in my side.
Chapin with 1 mana up would need a Prowess trigger to save it. Yeah, he's going to go 1 and 1 here. So that means that the Abbot without a trigger is going to die because the spell spike can't redirect half of an electrolyze like that. And that was nice for Sam. I mean,
yeah, it's great.
Got a threat off the board. There's a Gitaxian Probe again for Chapin. It's interesting what we were talking about earlier, Jake, about how Chapin's playing these 8 free spells that effectively shrink the size of his library down from 60 to 52, but he also gets something off of it,
Yeah, I mean, all those extra cards.
But not just the cards, but he gets to look at his opponent's hand. He gets to know what their draw step might be. These are little incremental advantages that Patrick's scooping up along the way here, while also serving this role of shrinking the library down.
Yeah, they shrink his library, they make his Tarmogoyf bigger. Mishra's Bauble is, sure, Serum Visions always pumps your Tarmogoyf. Chitaxian Probe always pumps your Tarmogoyf. But Mishra's Bauble is, an extra +1/+1 for your Tarmogoyf that most people never ever see.
Yeah.
So his Tarmogoyfs are bigger and better than most other people. So, of course, his opponent's Tarmogoyfs will be the same size still.
Sure. That's what Vapor Snag is for.
Yeah, that is exactly what Vapor Snag is for. When you bauble, you look at your top card. He's playing fetch lands.
Totally.
Oh, I don't need to draw another land.
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that. Oh, I thought about sacrificing that fetch land. Well, I better not, because I know there's a bolt on the top of my deck. I kind of want to cast that lightning bolt. So again, there we see Remand on the spell that was flashbacked off of Snapcaster Mage.
Pretty standard play in Modern for sure. You'll see that often. You mentioned White earlier.
That also works with Storm Triggers.
A little harder to do.
Bit harder to pull that one off.
To make it effective at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was Deprive to protect that spell and also to counter the Remand here. So Chapin, taking advantage of the fact that his deck doesn't really need that many lands to function, and playing Deprive, basically a hard counter for 2 mana. Oh baby,
Ooh.
Wow, Sam Pardee must have been setting this one up because here's Keranos, God of Storms. That thing can take over a game really quickly.
Yes, it can. Now, every time that Sam, at the beginning of his turn, every turn, he's either going to be drawing an extra card or lightning bolting something.
That's right.
He's just going to start going nuts. And he can haphazardly also just end up with enough devotion. It's not really something that happens, but
Yeah, you got to get up to 7.
it's a dream we'd all like to live.
Yeah, I mean, you only probably need to hit once with it if you do.
Attention players, that is time in the round. Active players, turn 0 or 5 additional turns.
Is it Staticaster?
That is an Izzet Staticaster. Of course, Izzet Staticaster, he also has Snapcaster Mage in play. Not really great right now.
Yeah, not low. Probably thinking, well, King's Pester Mite. Most people that play Twin are playing 2 Pester Mite and 4 Deceiver Exarch these days, at least from the list that I saw in Magic Online. 6 seems to be the number.
Yeah, 6 seems to be pretty go-to. And I mean, obviously you're going to play 4 Deceiver Exarch because it lives through Bolt. But,
More resilient.
yeah,
Even though it doesn't have flying, it doesn't attack for quite as much.
it blocks
when
way
you're
better.
looking to combo, yeah, you're
Yeah.
into the whole 4 toughness thing pretty good. Chapin's scrying off his Serum Visions here. This has been a heck of a match.
Yeah. These
A
games have
lot
been
of play.
great.
Yeah, lots of play.
These games still are great. This is really where Patrick needs to start turning the corner.
Wow,
He needs
did
to
you
get
see that?
aggressive here.
He almost put a card on top and was like, no. No, I'm bottoming both of these. There's going to be something better on top of my library. He's going to find out right now. All right, Lightning Bolt goes on top, land goes on bottom. So Serum Vision's doing its thing. Scrabble.
Can you imagine a world where he doesn't summon with this Tarmogoyf?
No. He's got a gem.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarmographic says that it's a 4/5, so that's just going to prompt a chump block there. Well, Chapin, before damage, is going to crack the bobble here. That's going to grow his Goyf a little bit. Pardee showing him the card on top.
So now this Goyf is up to a 5/6. Gonna be a very big boy.
Tarmographic's just too strong.
Yeah, Tarmographic is basically my favorite thing in the universe.
Right.
I like how it comes and goes as it pleases and lets us know how big the Tarmogoyf is. So we don't have to keep track of all the Jataxian probes and Sealifiers that have been played earlier in the game. This is a tight one here.
Wow, top with the Serum Visions there.
Ooh, that's definitely good for Sam.
Well, Snapcaster Mage. What are we getting here, Sam?
It's an important one.
Electrolyze? Okay, that was before. He's going to get the Electrolyze and make that same play we saw before. Chapin's holding the lightning bolt in the front of his hand and thinking about something there.
Probably trying to think about the math of how fast, if at all, can I kill Sam? Do I need to be using this bolt to kill a Snapcaster Mage on his end step?
Are we in turns? Is that what that one is for, Rashad? Because I see that our spotter Ray has put a dice up there that says 1, and I don't think it represents floating mana. So
Yeah, it looks like
we're
they are in
turns here.
turns.
I mean, this has taken forever.
Yeah, this has been a really good, really
Yeah,
long match.
It's been sweet.
Surprised they're in turns, actually, though.
I am too. Chapin just drew.
Neither player's been
Vapor
playing
Snag.
slow either.
No, they've been working their way through these. These have been tough games too. Now, Chapin's doing math because he's got a Vapor Snag and a Lightning Bolt in his hands. That's 4 damage plus getting a blocker out of the way. And an Abbott.
All right.
Flips a bobble.
Bobble. Let's see what he finds with his bobble.
Whoop. Almost looked at more than the top card of his library on accident.
That would have been bad. This
He's
time he's going to look at Sam's, though.
He's actually going to look at Sam's, yeah.
Yeah, you look at your own when you have fetch land, or when you have the option to do so. You look at your opponent's when it's just like, hey, sacrificing this. A little bit of information, an extra card. Often makes your Tarmogoyf bigger. Now, the Tarmogoyf's already at 5/6, so not going to get any bigger from here, but it's a big man. That thing is a 6/7 pretty often in this deck.
Like the Seal of Fire would bump it up.
Yeah.
Or killing Keranos, so that's easier said than done. Chapin is really in the tank here. No attack. Rumble with the Goyf. Chapin's down to 7.
Very scary here.
A lot of blockers there.
Yes.
Vapor Snag, Deceiver, Exarch. You lose a life. Down to 12. Lightning Bolt Snapcaster. Clear the way for a huge attack here.
Yeah, and suddenly
This is what, 7 damage, 9 damage? Yeah.
9.
Holy smokes. By the way, that Abbot of Carol keeps like a 6 power or something by now.
Yeah. He's a big creature for 2 mana.
In your turn, I draw 1 card for a ball.
Upkeep, draw a card from his Mishra's Bauble.
Beginning of your so then I draw for turn.
This would be on turn 3 now. Ooh, there's a roast.
So I can redirect this though, right? I will.
So he's
Patrick's just going to play a blue, lose this Spellskite. And I like that because you don't have to worry about getting comboed right now.
So yeah, so basically what he did is he redirected the Lightning Bolt, the free Lightning Bolt from Keranos over to the Spellskite. And that's it. Sam Pardee does not have enough because he can't get through the Spellskite, and the army of creatures that Patrick Chapin had assembles is enough to kill him next turn, and Pardee has to just shake the hand.
Yeah, I like
Sweet
that a lot
stuff.
from Patrick. And something that I really like about Spellskite, especially out of a deck like Patrick's, is that when it's playing out of the board, it's not just preventing your opponent from comboing, but it's also protecting your aggression.
Yeah, and did a great job of doing that. That Spellskite kind of, the whole game revolved around it. And that's going to do it, though, for round 7 here from Oklahoma City.